Something really interesting happened recently related to PvZ speedrunning. Shawnee, a content creator who is known for Stardew Valley content, started creating short videos about PvZ speedruns. One of these stood out to me. He made a video about how speedrunners use Scaredy Shroom, saying, quote, "Why do Plants vs. Zombies speedrunners use one of the game's worst plants in nearly every level?" He goes on to speak some accurate facts about Scaredy and how it is used in speedruns. Now, I've already made a video regarding the idea that Scaredy is not one of the worst plants, and it's in fact really strong, but that's not the point of this video. In fact, I'm not here to rant about that anymore. I did all of that in my other video. What I wanted to talk about was something that I saw in the comments. To me, it was surprising in a video about speedrunning. Most of the comments were people ripping into Shawnee for talking bad about Scaredy, and telling him that it isn't bad. To be fair, I think he knows that. But the other thing that I saw that was surprising was the amount of Chomper hate. There were a lot of comments and memes about how Chomper is the worst plant in PvZ. Now, I realize that most of the PvZ community are not speedrunners, but that's also part of why this video exists in the first place. Hi, my name is Sasquatch. I'm a PvZ speedrunner. Chomper is good, and I can explain why. This will be similar to a plant analysis, but more speedrun focused. Because of the difference between speedrunner opinion and casual opinion, I have to make this more speedrun oriented. That being said, a lot of these things can be implemented casually, and it can help explain the reason why Chomper is seen in a much better light in speedruns. Since Shawnee's video was about speedrunning, I figured that this was appropriate. So without further ado, this is why Chomper is so good in speedruns. Let's start off with some basics and what this plant looks like casually. Chomper costs 150 sun, has a fast recharge which is about 7 seconds, and kills any zombie with less health than a Gargantuar immediately. On paper, this plant actually seems pretty good. There are a few heavy drawbacks though. First of all, Cherry Bomb just does this job better. Second, Squash is far cheaper, so once you get that, there's no real reason to pick up Chomper for casuals. And third, the worst of all, Chomper kills a zombie instantly, but for the price of being unusable, for the next 42 seconds. That is a lot of time. Chomper is very useful for taking out zombies like footballs, bucketheads, and zombonis, but it suffers from dying almost immediately after because Chomper likes to eat really slow. What does that mean then? Well, that means that Chomper is outclassed, expensive, and has a hefty reuse cooldown. It doesn't look so good for Chomper right now. For speedrunners, it's a different story, but I'll talk about all of that in just a second. For most casual players, the long chewing cooldown is what does Chomper in for them. Since Chomper is so expensive and Cherry just does its job better, I don't blame casuals for gravitating away from it, especially since they don't use a stupid number of sunflowers. Chomper is a simple plant though. It does what it does and it does it well, with the drawback of taking a long time to chew. That's about it. It's kind of ironic when you think about it. Speedrunners love it, and yet it takes so long to reuse. I wonder why. Chomper in a casual playthrough is a half-decent plant. A bit expensive for what it does, but it can kill things immediately. But once you get repeaters and even Snow Pea, Chomper loses a lot of value for casuals. Because for just a tiny bit more sun, you can get way more of a reliable defense plant. Not only that, but later on in the game, you get way more reliable instant plants like Squash, Tanglekelp, Jalapeno, and Doomshroom. There are a few strats that use Chomper, but for casuals, these aren't better than any alternatives. Take 1.8 for example. In 1.8, casuals usually will take the Snow Pea instead of the Chomper in order to take care of the Buckethead. Despite the Chomper being an easier and cheaper solution, Snow Pea allows for a safer build into a safe final wave. And if you're a casual, you don't care about going fast. That's all that casuals really have on their mind. They only have to live long enough to complete the level, so Snow Pea is a viable pick for them here. Chomper's use case is much more niche in casual play, and is only being used with challenges or mods where the stronger plants got nerfed, which at that point you might not even call that casual play anymore anyway. The people who love Chomper casually are far and few between, but it makes sense, because this plant just doesn't pull its weight. Or does it? One of the largest differences between speedrunners and casuals is the number of sunflowers planted in any given level. For 1 flag levels, casuals usually plant around 5 to 7 sunflowers. For 2 flag levels, they might go up to 10, and the same goes for 3 flag levels. This stays pretty consistent throughout the rest of the game, too. Speedrunners, however, plant anywhere between 10 and 24 sunflowers depending on the level, and are planting sunflowers for almost half of each level. With that amount of sun, we literally don't care about any amount of sun costs that some of these plants have. We can just afford everything that we would need pretty easily. A second key difference is that we are trying to go fast. This means that we try to keep as many insta plants in our seed selects as possible. Chomper is one of these instants, and we use it constantly in so many levels. Due to the large amount of sunflowers, we don't care about Chomper's cost. This means that we plant Chompers off cooldown as soon as new waves of zombies are coming out. Since Chomper is the fastest recharging instant in the game, we try to keep Chomper's cooldown running. That way we can instantly kill any new waves that spawn and immediately spawn in next ones. That's why we also don't care about the 42-second reuse time for Chomper. Instead of waiting for a Chomper, we just plant a new one, since Chomper's cooldown is so short. For us, Chomper's downsides aren't really downsides. In fact, sometimes we can reuse Chompers just because of the way that we play. Finally, to conclude these differences, I'll be going a bit deeper into the game to pick it apart a little more. The way that the game is built is actually favoring of Chomper. A lot of the levels are spent introducing new zombies into the mix. This means that the game mostly consists of normal zombies, coneheads, and the new zombie that's being introduced. Whether that be bucketheads on 1.8, zombonis on 3.6, or ladders on 5.3, all of these levels hold their challenge to that zombie. Chomper easily takes care of all of these threats, even later on in the game, maybe only being countered by Miner and Pogo. Speedrunners know this, so instead of taking individual plants to counter those zombies, we just take Chomper, and that deals with most of those threats. Not only that, but the insta-heavy playstyle that speedrunners possess is also very good for dealing with these types of threats. Since Chomper excels at killing zombies and recharging fast, they're pretty perfect for dealing with things like extra coneheads in 2 flag levels, since coneheads are the slowest zombie to deal with in the first place. Killing coneheads makes the game way faster, and Chomper is the perfect solution for it. Not only does this mean Chomper is useful, it means that it's getting used throughout the rest of the game. It is used continually in other categories and category extensions. This means it's also versatile throughout the game and can be used in many scenarios. Think about it like this if you aren't convinced. Chomper is a relatively cheap, fast cooldown, versatile, and speedy instant for speedrunners. This is the speedrunning plant, and it is the speedrunning plant because of the way we use it. I could understand why a casual player might be confused, but there is a science behind it. Chomper is strong. It counters so many threats, and it is the fastest recharging instant in the game, something that neither Squash nor Cherry can say for themselves. So there you have it. That's why Chomper is so good in speedruns. I can see why casuals give it a bad rap, but when it comes to speedrunning, Chomper is absolutely one of the most influential plants in terms of how fast you'll be going. When you use it to its fullest, you can get tons of faster times in so many different levels, and it's quite overpowering to the zombies. But since casuals aren't worried about time, they don't need to use Chomper in this way at all. Chomper just gets left in the dust because there's no reason to use it unless you're speedrunning or playing a mod. Or if you're playing 5.5 over and over for some reason, you masochist. It depends on the context of where Chomper is being used. Chomper can be either really good or really bad. In a casual context, Chomper's not the best pick. If it's in speedrunning, Chomper's basically essential. Personally, I love Chomper, and it's easily become a top 5 plant for me since I've started speedrunning. Even though speedrunners are in the minority and that liking Chomper isn't a popular opinion, I wanted to shine some light on why it's so powerful in speedrunning, and how Chomper is such a strong plant in that context. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you can understand what I'm saying, and I hope that you can see Chomper in a new light. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel to see more, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you don't miss videos like this one. What do you guys think about Chomper yourself? What plant should I talk about next? And have you seen my Scaredy video? Let me know in the comments. Thank you guys again for watching, and have a freaking awesome day.